Alright guys, welcome to the second game. Star Station is currently the map, and we have of course game number 2 between the Terran player to the bottom left in blue. This is Innovation for STX Seoul, and starting to the top right, cross-positioned on Star Station of course, the CJ Entus player, the Protoss player, herO, who was not able to take game number 1. It looked really good for him at the beginning. His proxy Stargate did a lot of damage, even though Innovation had a bit of an inkling. His spider senses were tingling, and he went immediately for those missile turrets, but it was a tiny little bit too late, so herO got an early lead in the game, but Innovation was able to not only equalize the score but then take the game and is ahead in the best of 3 series here at the round of 16 of the WCG Korean Qualifier with a 1-0. Meaning if he takes this game, then he will advance to the round of 8, and at this point, just looking at the game, herO has to be a little bit desperate. He has to try to find out how to come back with this, because at this point he is one map loss away of being eliminated from the tournament, and keep in mind that only 3 players will be able to advance to the main tournament in China at the end of the year. In this particular part of the bracket, the upper part in the round of 16, we have 7 Protoss players, Innovation being the only Terran player that is currently fighting for his chance to go to the WCG main event. So he has to focus on one single matchup for the rest of this tournament, and it's going to be really interesting to see how exactly that is going to pull off. But at this point, just looking at his performance against herO, he has a pretty good chance. I mean, he's the best player in the entire world at this point for a reason. And he proved it in game 1 once again. So just looking at this game, let's see what exactly herO is trying to do now in game number 2. Currently just taking his gas here. We don't have cybernetics core for him just yet. That's going to come into play now as the gateway is completed. And in game number 1, what he tried to do was the proxy Stargate build. You can do that on Star Station as well. A lot of Terran players really like this map on the other hand. That's something that Bomber talked about yesterday, because he feels that there are so many ways where you can utilize Reapers in certain matchups so they can get scouting information. There are a lot of places where you can flank your opponent. A lot of the bases are exposed, where the mobility of a Terran player with a lot of medivacs really comes into play. So Bomber, a huge fan of this map in particular, and let's see if Innovation will show us that Terran really has a bit of an advantage here as well. herO is just trying to scout with this first additional zealot that we have, but now the SCV entering the main base of herO and getting all the scouting information that he needs. He's going for the double Reaper, and this kind of underlines a little bit what Bomber was talking about yesterday. Currently just looking here at the expansion for Innovation, those 2 Reapers could do a fair amount of damage, but of course the main question, the main point is always getting that mothership core into the game so that you can use the photon overcharge. And against the Reapers alone, you don't even have to. You can just rely on the mothership core alone, and as long as you get a stalker out of there, the defense should be pretty solid. So I don't really expect more than only 2 of those Reapers, and there they are already on their way to the top right. Will be spotted in just a second, and that poor fella just doesn't stand a chance. The Zealot trying to get the scouting information, and he's gonna see that base. So he's at least getting a view of what's going on here. Has also a quick look in the main base, gets the factory, and sees also the reactor. So for him at this point, that's all that he could hope for with the Reapers being on the map. The Zealot dies in the end, but at least he sells his skin for a few scouting information here. Going to the top right, let's find out what exactly Innovation can do with those 2 Reapers. You know, usually I would actually look at this and would be like, well, it's 2 Reapers. He's not going to do too much. Maybe kill a probe. But on the other hand, these are Innovation Reapers. And if any player in the world can actually take down a couple of units, it's him. So the Protoss player in a few minutes might just look at the game, might be like, oh my god, this is bogus. Like, he should have never been able to do this much damage. This is really, really a very innovative game that he's using there. But puns aside, we have the Reaper trying to harass at the natural, and as I mentioned earlier, with a double Stalker and your mothership core, there's not a lot that you can do. So let's have a bit of a look what we currently have to the bottom left for Innovation. This time a much faster tech. He's going into the starport. We have him with the expansion already done and the orbital tech started. Widow Mines will help him a lot actually against potential Oracle play. And if you just look at the top right, for herO we also have a very different style. This time without the proxy Stargate, without any kind of early game aggression, we see him heading into the +1 armor upgrade that will give him an early lead against his opponent's bio forces. And we also have him now in a position where he is forcing those Marines back. So far, no photon overcharge. He might actually be able to save the energy. This is a really interesting topic, by the way. Bomber talked about it yesterday a little bit when he said that photon overcharge is way too strong in his opinion. On the other hand, Terran has units that can make up for this, but you always want to bait out... Nice hit here with the Widow Mine. You always want to bait out that photon overcharge so that the Mothership Core doesn't have the energy. And herO is really intent to not use it, but right now he lost 2 of his Stalkers, one to the Marines and the other one to the Widow Mine. So that's definitely a big problem. At first, I really liked his position. Good micro, saving the energy on the Mothership Core, taking down a couple of Marines there, but then he got too greedy. There was no need for him to move out and chase those forces back. The thought process of him here was to do as much damage as he potentially could against the Marines, but he overstepped his bounds a bit with those Stalkers. One of the Stalkers low on HP was taken out, another one eliminated by the Widow Mine, and then he really lost a bit too much. Didn't have to use the energy on the Mothership Core yet, so that is going to help him against the drop defense, with the drop defense. But still, right now we have him moving in once again. A triple, here comes the triple Stalker, trying to do as much as he can. Of course, we have the Observer in the game. That is helpful against the Widow Mine, but the Widow Mine so far was not spotted. There's the cannon on the other hand. The cannon alone is able to take the Widow Mine out before there's a shot, but the Mothership Core is forced to use the photon overcharge. You can really see how hesitant herO was to use that. What he was trying to do is lure the Medivac in a little bit more, then use the photon overcharge, take down the Medivac, and eliminate the entire force that we had for the Terran player here. Didn't really work out for him in the end, but so far, if you just look at the resources lost, they are still fairly even here. We have 700 against 675. But now, with the attack, of course, herO going into the 1-1 for innovation. We have the +1 attack upgrade started. We have Stim, we have Combat Shield. But in terms of overall tech and composition, herO a bit of an edge here with the, not only the first Colossus being built, that will help him a lot against the early Marine defense, and also, of course, the extended Thermal Lance upgrade. But both of them are still very equal here. Innovation edging out a bit of a supply advantage, and he wouldn't be innovation if he wouldn't be able to pull this off. This is actually so impressive about a lot of these players. They can multitask so well that they can attack at two points in the game at once. At the same time, they will focus on their economy, always build those SCVs that you need, and with the triple command center that we now have for innovation, he can get out those triple SCVs just really fast. He's probably going to call down the next set of mules right over here at the 3rd mineral line. You want to just try to get the mules up over there so that you can save a few of the mineral patches in your main base and at the natural, because in case that your opponent really pressures you, he's most likely to take down your 3rd base than anything else. So if he takes down the 3rd, then you still have the natural and the main, and you want to have as many mineral patches left in those 2 bases as possible. So mules usually are called down at the 3rd base if it's not too much exposed against early aggression from your opponent. Innovation here going now already into the armory, as his +1 attack upgrade is about to finish. He will start his armor upgrade soon. As you can see, he doesn't have one just yet, but then he will get access to the +2/+2. Could with this timing also head in the +2 attack upgrade instead to just counter the armor upgrades of his opponent. But we have already herO moving out. He's pushing out with 2 Colossi. He has range, and this is a pretty strong army. Looking at a 45 army supply, but the forward pylons are already set down. So here comes additional source of weapons, and we have now 51, but here come those bunkers. The bunkers are not done yet though, and taking a lot of damage here, and also no unit is able to reach those bunkers. Crazy good force fields by innovation. There's just not a single gap, and the bunkers, they were just basically useless. He could also force field the ramp right now if he wants to move in once again. Those medivacs at the front not doing a whole lot, and that was a really good job by herO. But he has to do more than that. He has to do more, and he's moving in. The SCV is coming off the line, trying to act as a buffer. Once again, the first few sentries already dying, taken out, don't have any energy whatsoever anymore. But herO, he's going down in supply, and it's just crazy. Innovation is a monster. This guy is a beast. Can anyone take him down? I actually don't know, but I don't think that herO is the one to do it today. Most of those Colossi are already gone, and this timing push of herO might have hit a little bit too late, but now even a drop in the main base trying to do some damage. That Nexus nearly died. 7 kills on the Nexus cannon, but even with those units missing at the bottom left, Innovation easily able to defend against the timing push of his opponent. herO losing too much. For him, of course, a problem that he was attacked over here. Might not have been able to warp as many units into the battle as he wanted to, but still, this defense by Innovation is just incredible. If you look at the resources lost, the Terran player takes a huge lead with 5,000 against 6,400, and now it's time for Innovation to do his thing, go across the map and punish his opponent and punish him hard. This guy is just so good. And herO, I mean, with the Mothership Core alone in his main base, he could of course defend here quite well. But the Mothership Core at the bottom left might have been able to use time warps, and that might have given him the edge. There's a lot of would have, should have, could have, but in the end, the gist of it is that Innovation is moving out once again, trying to take down his opponent, controlling the choke points here. Nice force fields on the other hand by herO, but the evacuate with the medivacs for Innovation is also pretty good. And now the Terran player is just in a 50 supply lead, moving in once again. He has so many units rallied across the map. He is still on 3 bases against 2. The economy is so much better for him. Innovation is already in a 1-0 lead in this best of 3. And if he takes this game, then herO is out of the WCG Qualifier Korea. And it just doesn't look like herO might be able to take this game. So many units dead and dying. And here comes Innovation with a second victory in the best of 3, taking map number 2 and advancing now over CJ herO with a 2-0 to the round of 8 at the WCG Qualifier.